Hey, God. Oh my God. Woo. Um, I changed the mic setting, so I just want to check really quick how it sounds. Does it sound normal? I changed something because hold on a second. Let me, Hey, God. Okay, it sounds normal, right, guys? I think it sounds normal. I just changed something on it that I probably should
Okay,
have
it
had the
sounds
whole
normal.
time. And I just wanted to make sure that it was good. That's all. Um, okay. How are you guys? Ashley, you made it. Cat Mouse, you made it. Ashley, have you been here since Cat Mouse became mod? I know you're out of town, so I don't know if you've been here. My hair looks so flat. Right. Since she's been mod, but I made a Hope G and Cat Mouse are new mods. Um, so if Zeke comes over, Zeke, are you here, babes? Okay, I could put. Let me get his camera ready in case if he comes, because he is sitting right over here in front of me. So I'm guessing he's gonna come around and we'll get that ready. But I thought I'd do a new case today, and tonight I might do some more Wade stuff because those of you following the Wade case, there's some interesting stuff coming up with remember how we've all been wanting to know what Wade's reaction when he finds out about Breezy dying? Well, this isn't him finding out obviously because the time frame it's from July 2024, but he talks about it and it's interesting because we've never heard what he's thought about her death or anything. So he does talk about it with somebody. So that will be coming up. Either I might do a live tonight on it or depending on how I feel later. So we'll see, but it'll probably tomorrow, if not tonight. But we are going to talk about Jenna Strouble. I don't even know how to say her name correctly. Strouble. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. To be honest, because I've been watching like some videos on it, but I never actually paid attention how they said her last name, if they even did. But crazy case. She is being charged with 9 counts of murder. She is being charged with killing her on again, off again boyfriend and father of her children and his parents, which supposedly it's his stepdad and his real mother is what I don't think it's been confirmed, but that's what like Long Crime is heard and what everybody's thinking. Because they did you'll see they got married. Well, you'll see. Nobody got married. I'm not talking about sorry, I'm not talking about her boyfriend and her getting married, but there's a picture of his parents and they got married and they're a lot older. So I'm thinking it probably is right. It's probably his stepdad and his real mom. So he was found outside in his car, shot. His parents were found by the front door, shot. So probably, I'm guessing maybe she saw that they witnessed it or something. She had to get rid of witnesses. Happened in Illinois. And she lives in Indiana, so she drove back home after that. And then the police put it together two and two and end up going to arrest her in her Indiana home. And supposedly she said incriminating things. They haven't released what those incriminating things are, but they said when they went in to arrest her, she said some incriminating things. So hopefully that'll be released. I've been trying to order files. I've been trying to find files. Nothing. It doesn't look like anything's available yet. Well, as far as I would try to order it from, the arresting agency, but they're not releasing anything. But now she's transferred to where she'll be prosecuted in Illinois because that's where the murders were. I'm waiting. I just put in the order for that. So we'll see. But on the websites, there's no really files. It's just shows you the charges. It shows you her picture. Of course, there's two different mugshots. The one in where she was arrested with St. John PD in Indiana, and then the one that I have in the thumbnail, the new one, is where she was um, extradited to Illinois. Okay, so very crazy case. I mean, I don't know if is she saying she's innocent? Is she saying she did it? Like, you know what I'm saying? No, they don't know. All we heard is that there was incriminated things that she said. So maybe she's just gonna be like, hey, I mean, a person that's not going to fight it. Maybe she's just going to admit she did it and not take it to trial. I don't know. But I want thank you, Cat Mouse, for gifting membership. Thank you. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. What is this? So I have like a bunch of videos. I want to play the law and crime video because I think it's pretty good and it'll lay the whole story out. So those of you, hey Mel, thank you. Let's just start out with that because it does. It's a good video. It shows you everything that happened. So okay, we could either watch the scandal one or the one with that guy for law and crime. What would you guys prefer? Have you guys seen both of them? Because I want to possibly bring, something new, something maybe you haven't seen. Will it be new to anybody if we watch the law and crime one? Because I just think it'd be good to watch that for people that are like, they don't know anything about the case because it'll show pictures, and we'll go through pictures too. I want to go through all their Facebook accounts I have pulled up. I have articles. I have, um, Hope G, Cat Mouse. Not really though. Uh, Brianna, not really at all. The thing is, it's like some people will be able to make it sometime and they can't make it other times. So it looks like I have so many, but there'll be times where not everybody will be able to make it. Cause I mean, I was going where a lot of my lives there was no mods. You know what I'm saying? So no, I don't feel like I feel like I have less than a lot of people. But that's awesome that everybody's showing up today. So that's awesome. Um, I feel like I have the best ones. I'm very choosy, or what's the word for it? So, okay, so let's watch. Which one do you guys want to, yeah, right, I was saying. So that's what I was like, I want to get it so like at least if some people can't be there, there'll at least be one mod in the house. But hey, the more the merrier. I love having everybody here. Well, we have four mods here. I hope Ashley, Cat Mouse, all saying. So there's four today. Awesome. Um, okay, so okay. Let me just show you a picture. Hold on. Some pictures real quick. Just real quick, and then we'll move on to watch the video. Even on the video, they're going to show him. But here's a picture of I guess it's his mom and his stepdad, is what people are saying. So them two were shot and killed in their home. And then there's so many pictures of them two. Here's one. Well, the one I used in the thumbnail. But we'll go through more of them. But these are the ones I used in the thumbnail. Okay. But when I watch this video, let's watch this video. They go through them all. Which one do you guys want to watch? The scandal one or that one with the guy from Long Crime? I only ask because I think the scandal one is newer, and if you guys have all seen the other one, I want to bring one maybe that you guys haven't seen. Anybody? Well, I'll just play one. Let's play this one. This one's good. This one is like the one that came out, since I'm not getting any answers here. This is the one that came out first. It's got a lot of views, but it's good. I mean, it gives you the whole lineup on the case. Um, Now I lost you guys. I have so many tabs open. Where are you guys at? Um, okay, cool. Let's watch this one first. It gives a good overview of the case, and then we'll go into more details of articles and Facebook posts and stuff like that. Okay, so here we go.
Homicide we're talking about happened in a quiet community.
Hold on. I'm gonna have to reshare it because my AirPods were not connected. Hold on, I gotta reshare it, guys. It wouldn't be a stream of mine if I didn't have to do this, right? Stupid AirPods. I can't give them up though. They're just the best. I mean, you're not connected by a gosh darn freaking cord, and the sound is so much better for me. They stay in my ears better than other ones, even though nothing really stays in my ear the greatest. They all freaking pop out, but better than any other ones. I can't do the head. I have some good over the head ones. I actually gave ones away for a giveaway because I never used them, and I still have another skulls or I don't know whatever one I have. I looked up because I was going to try to sell them, and they were $120, pretty good. But I can't. They itch my head. It makes like if I wear a hat or anything over, if there anything touching here, over here, or even over my head will itch. Does that do that to anybody else? Like it just itches so bad. Okay, here we go. Let's do this.
Community south of Chicago. It happened in the middle of the night on Monday as neighbors woke up reportedly to the sounds of gunfire and they called police. When officers responded to the home of the Ford family, the home of Patrick and Stacy, they made a horrifying discovery. Now, one thing we have noticed in the wake of this tragedy is just how many people loved this couple, Patrick and Stacy, and their adult son, Jacob. When you look at Patrick and Stacy's social media, you can see that they had a lot of love for other people as well, especially their grandchildren. The father of those kids was Jake Lambert. One person online said that Patrick was Jake's stepdad and Stacy was his mom. Now, as people are trying to make sense of what happened on this home in a quiet part of Crete Township, Illinois on Norway Trail early Monday morning, many people are trying to comprehend how the mom of the kids who you see in Jake's arms could allegedly be capable of such horror. Now, this is a picture from 2023 from a second birthday, it seems, for one of Jake's kids. And you can see that this looks like a happy family, everyone color coordinated as they celebrate their toddler. The woman in the picture is Jenna Strouble. She's smiling in this picture, but now she's accused of being a cold-blooded killer. Now, this case does not appear to be a whodunit, according to police, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But the why, that is where the mystery is at this point. Now, before we get into more of the dynamics surrounding the relationship potentially at the center of this case, I want to break down the timeline of this crime from law enforcement. So this story takes place in Crete Township, Illinois, which is in Will County, Illinois. It's roughly 45 minutes south of Chicago, right on the Indiana border. This suburb has roughly 25,000 people in it. The Fords lived on what looked like a quiet street, a place where neighbors look after each other. This is an aerial map of the house where this crime allegedly took place, according to police. Now, police say it was here around 2 a.m. on Monday, March 23rd, that they responded for what they're calling a welfare check. Neighbors told local outlets that they heard what sounded like gunfire in the middle of the night, and they called 911. The Will County Sheriff says when they got to the house, they found Jake shot dead in a car outside. There's a picture on social media of a car being towed from the scene that had a tarp over the passenger side window. Police say they found Patrick and Stacy, Jacob's parents, shot dead. They were on the first floor of the house, not far from the front door. Police say they found the family dog just wandering the property. Now, it's unclear what put law enforcement on the trail of the alleged killer, Jenna Strouble, but they say they have a big clue now in their possession that could be critical if this case ever goes to trial, and that is the alleged murder weapon, a firearm. Strouble also allegedly made the investigation easy for detectives in another way, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Now, police say after Strouble shot and killed the father of her children and her children's grandparents, she ran, but she didn't go far. Just about 15 minutes away over the state line to St. John, Indiana. That is where she lives, and that is where she's from. Now, from the very beginning, police said that this did appear to be a targeted incident, a case of alleged domestic violence. And it's unclear what put them on Jenna's trail so quickly right after the murders, but it was within hours. They announced a person of interest was in custody. And then about a day or so later, they announced that Jenna was the person who was going to face charges for what allegedly happened to Stacy and Patrick Ford and Jacob Lambert. Now, police arrested Jenna at her home, and the Will County Sheriff says that she made incriminating statements. We don't know specifically what she said, but it seems like law enforcement is very confident they have the person who's responsible for these murders. It is unclear what a defense, though, may look like for her based off what she allegedly did. The sheriff says that Strouble will face 9 counts of first-degree murder in this case, and we'll talk a little bit more in a moment about how you can have so many counts of murder when there are 3 victims. Here are the charges listed in the Will County court records. Now, we don't know the relationship dynamic specifically between Jacob and Jenna. Police did describe them as having an on-again, off-again relationship, and of course, they shared children. Now, it did appear on social media that you go back to 2023, and they had what appeared to be an on relationship, or at least amicable when it came to raising their children. That's based off those birthday photos that we showed you at the top of this story. Now, it does appear that the couple also lived together at some point because of pictures they have of them bringing a newborn home. Now, it does not appear that Jenna has a criminal record or any sort of violent history. But again, now she's facing 9 counts of first-degree murder for what she allegedly did. We did a background search on her in Indiana court records, and we only found a traffic citation from 2018. And then when you search Illinois court records, you see those 9 counts of first-degree murder. Right now, Jenna's being held in the Lake County Jail in Indiana. And even though she only lived a short drive away from where these murders took place, since it is across state lines, she will have to be extradited to Illinois, where she will face charges that could put her away for the rest of her life. Now, she is the alleged face of evil in this story, a smiling mom who allegedly snapped and became a killer. But right now, the people who knew Stacy, Jacob, and Patrick, they are remembering people who they say brought a lot of good into this world. One friend writes that Jake held a special place in their heart because he understood how important family was. And they say he was an exceptional father who wanted his children to have strong family values and to know that they were loved beyond measure. Patrick, he was an avid golfer, actually worked at the local course, and he loved his family. He loved his grandkids, and he will be missed beyond description. And then Stacy was a director of finance for a graphic manufacturing company in Illinois. That company posted on Facebook that she was the backbone of their company for more than 20 years. Now, it's unclear when Jenna Strouble will face a judge in Illinois and what the extradition process will look like for her. If you or anyone you know may be a victim of domestic violence, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE, that's 7233, or text START to 88788, and you can remain anonymous. This line is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Joining us now to talk more about this case is Melba Pearson, civil rights and criminal law attorney, former prosecutor, and host of the Resident Legal Diva YouTube channel. Always great to have you here on Law and Crime. It's really tough to make sense of this, of any cases of violence, but in this case, this woman facing, 9 counts of first-degree murder for the 3 victims here. I do want to just bring up CBS News Chicago has this line that is giving some context to the relationship, allegedly saying that deputies were also called to the home in January 2025 for domestic battery and a mental health intervention. Sheriff's officials said that Strouble was involuntarily committed during that incident last year. So we can talk a bit about the mental health part of this. But when you see the 9 counts, and I know every state is different, but 9 counts of first-degree murder, but we're dealing with 3 victims that, the lives that she allegedly took. What do you make of those types of charges and why there would be so many for 3 victims?
Yeah. So again, thank you for having me. And this is definitely a tragic case that reminds us that men can be victims of domestic violence too. A lot of times we focus on women being the survivors. And while, yes, there are a lot of women that are survivors, men can also be impacted, as we see in this horrible case. Now, in terms of the 3 victims, 9 counts, yes, it seems like the math doesn't math, right? But that is something that is a quirk in some states in their law, just in terms of, not only the 3 victims, but also looking at intent. Sometimes there's extra charges layered in just in case something goes wrong later on down the line in the process. And maybe as part of the negotiations, if there's eventually a plea, some of those counts may get dropped. Sometimes those counts are streamlined for the purposes of trial. So usually it's a strategic move on behalf of the prosecutor's office, why we see so many counts.
And there's going to be, she'll eventually be back in Illinois, and many states deal with this when you're talking about communities that are along a state line. But she, allegedly flees after this happens, and then she's arrested in St. John, Indiana, which is in the Chicagoland area, but just across the state line. So even though she's so close geographically, like, we still have to go through the extradition process the same way as if she was caught 200 miles away in another part of Indiana.
Absolutely. I'm based in South Florida. Many times we have defendants that will flee, or people charged that will flee to Georgia. And we still, it's right across state lines, but we still have to extradite them back because, again, you're taking someone out of one state's custody and trying to bring them into your own custody. And so there's a legal process that has to be followed in terms of, you know, we in the legal system refer to it as the body, but it's actually a person, right? A living person. But that's weird quirk again, but you have to file those motions in order to make sure the person is properly transported. And there's a record of how they got from point A to point B. And there's no allegations of like they were kidnapped or anything like that. You know, it's just to be very clear in terms of how the defendant person charged got from point A to point B.
And I know at the time we're recording this, to our understanding, she's still in Lake County, Indiana, and then will be brought to Will County, Illinois, where these murders took place that she is allegedly responsible for. When you see that there was, and in cases of domestic violence, sadly, I feel like there's a lot of times where there's a history, and it's not the first time that something happened. And in this case, if this reporting is correct about January 2025 for a domestic battery and mental health intervention, typically, what does that mean for someone to be involuntarily committed if that's what happened to her?
So when you are involuntarily committed, and there's a couple different ways that it can happen. It could be a family member is basically calling a helpline saying, hey, my loved one is having a mental health episode. It could also be as a result of someone calling law enforcement, they coming and responding to the scene and seeing that someone's in an active mental health situation. And so at that point, the person is taken and transported to a mental health facility where they can get care, observation. Usually involuntary hospitalization would be about 24, 48 hours, somewhere in that range. This is not weeks or months or anything along those lines. It's just to make sure the person is stabilized, that they're no longer a danger to themselves or people around them. And it's to also could be the purposes of diagnosing the person because maybe they're having a mental health break and they've never previously been diagnosed as bipolar or schizophrenic. Now it's like, oh, wait, now we can put a name to what's actually going on. And then it is up to the person to follow up on treatment moving forward.
And we don't know if she was diagnosed with anything. We don't know much about the relationship. I mean, you look at, I know police characterized it as on again, off again. It appears they have two kids. Just from social media, it appears like in 2023, they had a 2-year-old birthday party that looked, very nice, very typical. But, over the last couple of years, it's hard to know what the relationship was. When I looked her up, the only thing that comes up is a 2018 traffic citation in Indiana records. And then in Illinois, nothing came up other than, what she's dealing with now. Even in those cases, like in 2025, typically what type of record is there if there's a situation? I mean, would that be something where, something happens and maybe the family said, we don't want to press charges. But for there to be if this is what happened in 2025, some domestic battery incident, and then charges aren't filed, is there anything that goes into a record to kind of raise a red flag that there could be an issue here with this relationship?
Sadly, no. Many times it's a situation where, because we would normally see an arrest, right?
Yeah.
Like depending when we, and there are a few different ways that can happen, but when you usually pull somebody's criminal history and there's been an arrest, even if charges are dropped later on down the line, there is still some record of an arrest. So what likely may have happened here, again, not knowing the full picture and just based on the information that's available, there may have been prior domestic violence incidents, but the family or the victim never reported, never told anyone in a law enforcement capacity. Now, this is all going to come to bear during trial, if this case does go to trial, because there are usually pathways in terms of, prior bad acts or prior evidence that could come in at trial if there has been other domestic violence incidences between the two of them that may have been witnessed by a family member or a friend, or maybe the victim went to work and said, oh my gosh, my ex is driving me crazy. She went and slashed my tires or something like that, right? So there may be some other evidence of prior violence. It's just outside of the criminal justice system.
And when it comes to, we don't know specifically, I think at this point, other than, clearly they had an on again, off again relationship. They maybe looked up that there was this call in 2025 and it seemed pretty quickly they had Jenna Strouble in custody for the murders of these people. They say that she made some incriminating statements. We don't know what those are. And then they also allegedly have the murder weapon, a gun that was used in this triple homicide. The fact that there may be some mental health issues here, like if you're a defense attorney taking over this case, and I know we have a long way to go, how can that come into play if you're a defense attorney looking at, oh no, my client made these statements to police, presumably after she was read her rights?
Right. Well, first of all, point A, were her rights read? Was this in response to interrogation or questions being presented by law enforcement? Or was it what we'd call a spontaneous statement where the cops come and is like, yeah, you know what? He pissed me off. And so I did XYZ. Right. And at that point, those statements are admissible. So it's kind of difficult as a defense attorney to attack that. Now, the next thing you can say is that, well, because of her mental health concerns, she hasn't been on her medication. And so she reacted in this way. But it becomes a difficult pathway because we're not looking necessarily at insanity, which is something very different than having mental health concerns. You can be mentally ill and have schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. But if you're on your medicine, you know who all the parties are in the courtroom, you know who the judge is, you can recognize, okay, this is the judge, this is my defense attorney, that's the prosecutor. You have to be able to meaningfully participate in your defense. So if the defense counsel asks, hey, do you want to take a plea? This is the pros and cons. You have to be able to follow along and have a basic understanding versus, I mean, if you're completely out there, and just not able to talk, not, you're seeing, stars, whatever the case may be. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but I'm just, again, real world. Folks could be completely having a mental health breakdown. Well, that's someone who can't meaningfully participate in their defense. And they also can't appreciate the seriousness of the charges. So we're not quite sure if that's the issue there. If it is, that's a whole different pathway. And again, is she competent to go to trial, et cetera? So that's a whole different pathway that defense counsel would have to approach. But her just having mental health concerns, that alone may not be enough to help her at trial. It could be something used as part of the plea bargaining process. Like, listen, my client has mental health issues. As a result of that, is there a way we can do something different with the sentence, get her the help she needs, et cetera?
Because even if, this, and we don't know what this relationship was like, it was on again, off again. You have this domestic battery call in 2025 reportedly, but like, even if it was an extremely toxic relationship, even if there's not arrest or anything, but like if that's presented in court that this was a toxic relationship, like it's still triple murder, and it's still like, I mean, this is an awful crime if she actually committed this. Like how much does that history actually matter if we get into a courtroom here where it comes to, listen, we have the gun and we have the statements that in this moment on that night, 2:00 in the morning or whenever it was, you did this. Like, does the history even matter?
To me, I think it does because number one, it explains to the jury what this is all about. Juries, even though in depending on the charge, of course, this being first degree murder, motive is an issue, premeditation is an issue, but in not all charges or all cases does the prosecution have to prove a motive. A lot of times it's nice to have. But there's no legal requirement in most cases to prove a motive. Intent, yes, but why someone did it, not necessarily. But juries like to know why. And it's always easier for me when I was a prosecutor handling cases. I like to be able to explain this is why this crime happened. Sometimes you get up and say this is a senseless crime. We don't know why. Not the best, but you can still get a conviction that way. But it's much easier when you're able to be like, listen, these two were in a relationship. He decided he no longer wanted to be with her. Every time he tried to leave her, she would get abusive. She would ratchet up the pressure, etc. And the jury can very easily follow along. So it makes the process easier.
Take a little break on that. What do you guys think so far? I have Zeke's camera. He's sitting right beside me on my chair right now. You can't see it. Oh, I have to change my my thing says Zeke's boy again. Or hold on a second. Let me change my thing. Anyway, what do you guys think of this? Anybody that's new to this case, they're just learning about it now. Oh, I'm so curious if like if she's just gonna be like, I did it. So oh no, we're gonna listen to the rest. I'm just talking. I'm taking a break here. Kind of mix it up a little bit. Um, hey Anthony. Mrs. Mom. So yeah, I just got a denial for the request. And I even requested like incident reports, affidavit. Why would that? They said that it's obstruction of evidence. It'll ruin the case. I guarantee within the week, Long Crime's going to have that document of that arrest affidavit. Those are always out before at the trial or anything. I'm kind of upset. Like, what the heck? I don't know. Maybe it's just not available yet, but they made it seem like that. Nope, it'll ruin the case. I don't know. Uh, oh, you want to hear what she says right now? Okay, sorry.
Easier from a prosecution standpoint and easier for the jury to understand the totality of the circumstances.
And right now, we only have the statement that the Will County Sheriff's Office put out there. We don't know the specific narratives that'll come out in court documents about just what happened. We know that Jake Lambert, he was found shot dead in a car. And then you have his parents, the Fords, they were found dead on the first floor of the home. When you think about a defense and you're accused of multiple murders like she is in this case, like, can you separate all of them of like something happened in the car and then something happened in the front of the house? Because I think for the prosecutors, it's like, even if there was a self-defense argument in the car, how did the two people in the house end up being shot as well?
Exactly. And again, it depends on the full narrative that the prosecution will have at the time of trial. Because again, there could be a ring camera from across the way that may have captured some critical information. The officer's body cam, there might be something there in terms of, maybe she said something off the cuff that could be usable. So it all depends. No matter what, this is something that if I was prosecuting the case, I'm approaching it as one continuous episode, that it started in the car, and it could have been a family and one of the parents came out because they heard a disturbance. And then now she's thinking, oh no, I've got witnesses. I've got to take them out because they're going to be able.
Sorry, I misunderstood. And then I saw like half the people leave from the numbers. So I'm like, man, as soon as I stopped that, I was like, man, maybe everybody did want to finish it. I know. I wonder. I mean, I think it already happened. Like, as far as they said that whatever she said, that she made some incriminating statements. So it may have already happened. Like, she may have already said something to him. I mean, yeah, I'm very interested to see. And I don't know. That's the thing though. Like, these are obviously going to be available. There's no way they're going to be able to keep the affidavit and incident reports and stuff till the trial. So, like, I got denied. Like, what am I going to have to? I guess I'll request it in about a week or two or something. It's just kind of ridiculous, though, that they couldn't even give the document. So, and I guarantee Long Crime is going to be having them in a couple of days. I swear that they allow bigger like corporations like Long Crime and Court TV. I feel like these counties allow them stuff that they don't allow everybody, which it shouldn't be that way. But I swear, I could be wrong, but I swear sometimes they could get things that they deny me for, or deny others for. Anyway, so all right, so we're gonna take a break on this. Scandal's a pretty good one too. So if I ever need another little video, I could play Scandal later on in this video. I actually like Scandal. Um, I swear the girl from Scandal is the girl that used to be on Daily Mail, isn't it? Because I know a lot of times Long Crime will take people that have other channels and they'll give them like a little set series on Law and Crime Channel. So I think she's the one from Daily Mail. It could be wrong, but okay. So yeah, I think it might be. Let's let's look at some of their Facebook accounts. I'll show you. Well, here, let me do this one first. The Will County Sheriff's Office. Okay. So, oh, so it says, oh wait, I should, hold on, let me do something really quick. So, okay, there. Sorry. Okay, so it says Will County Sheriff. This is from March 24th. I'll read what they said. Charged filed in triple homicide. Sheriff Mike Kelly is pleased to announce that on March 24th, 2026, detectives with the Will County Sheriff's Office obtained an arrest warrant on 9 counts of first-degree murder for Jenna Strouble in connection with March 23rd, 2026 triple homicide that occurred in unincorporated Crate. I didn't see how they pronounce that. City Crate? I don't know. Jenna is 30 years old from St. John, Indiana. The preliminary investigation shows this was a targeted incident, and during the detective's interview, Strouble gave incriminating statements following the homicides. Investigators recovered a firearm and were able to determine it did match the one used in the homicides. On 3/23 at approximately 2 a.m., Will County Sheriff's deputies were asked to perform a welfare check from a concerned family member at home. So at 2 a.m., they're called, right? When deputies arrived on scene, they found the bodies of 3 adults, 2 men and 1 woman. The victims, all residents of the home, including a man and his parents. They have been notified by the Will County Coroner's Office as 32-year-old Jacob Lambert, 54-year-old Stacy Ford, and 55-year-old Patrick Ford. Lambert was found dead in a car in the driveway, and his parents were found dead inside the home on the first floor near the front door. Wait, hold on a second. Let me just put something in real quick before I forget this. Give me 1 minute. Since I have it up, I just want to see something that they say in here. Just give me 1 minute. Just so I have it, so I don't have to pull it back up. Yeah. People. Ah. Okay. So Lambert was found, Lambert was found dead in the car in the driveway, and his parents were found dead inside the home on the first floor near the front door. Strouble had an on and off relationship with Lambert, and they had children together. Preliminary investigation shows that Strouble fled the scene to her home in St. John, Indiana, and that's where St. John police took her into custody. The Will County Sheriff's Office would like to thank the St. John Police and the Lake County, Indiana Sheriff's Office for their quick response and full assistance during this investigation, and for their commitment in bringing justice to this case. Strouble is being held at the Lake County, Indiana jail and will be in their custody until she's extradited back to Illinois for these charges, which she is already extradited. She's in Will County now. As always, charges are merely accusations, and the defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. So there's her first mugshot. See if there's anything. Some people post interesting things in here that. Let's see if they have anything. Will County. So here's the update. Her mugshot. This is her latest mugshot, which I have for my whatchamacallit, thumbnail. Somebody says evil evil lives here. She's in Strouble. Somebody made a joke because her last name's Strouble. Why do I keep wanting pronounce it Strouble, but maybe it is just pronounced Strouble, like trouble, because it's trouble. But it says she's in trouble. Oh my God. People, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, somebody puts. I thought I was the only one that used that term. The cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I want to know where she got her hair done since the first photo. Prison can't be that bad. Yeah, right. So the first photo, and then you see her new photo when they extradited her back to, Illinois and Will County. All right, let me see here if there's anybody else. Because sometimes they'll like link like interesting things that you could find some good information. So I always like to look. But okay, so that now let me go. Here is her Facebook page. Okay, so this is Jenna's Facebook page. Let me make it bigger. We can look through this a little bit, see what she's doing. Okay, so oh, when I have it too big, that's why it's doing that. Gosh darn it, I have to make it smaller. Okay. So her last post on Facebook was October 2024. She has pictures of her 2 kids. You're my pumpy umpy umpkins. Let's see if anybody. Somebody says so cute, so adorable, adorable. Wow, I'm surprised people aren't in here. Well, probably because they're not going to do it on that picture. Her name is literally Jenna Strouble. They're making that joke again. This content is not up available, whatever that was. June 29 or June 19, she put unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance. Unlearn that. A good heart doesn't mean you have to let people walk all over you. Stand up for yourself. And then somebody writes, that didn't mean to kill everybody though, Jenna. Wow. That's a good one though, right? Somebody says, oh damn, I came here to find something. Now I'm here for the comments. I don't even know if there's any truth to this, but this person says, I'm not saying what she did was right because it's definitely 100% unequivocally was not the right thing to do. However, it sounds like this guy was hella abusive and made her feel like shit all the time. And she got fed up and had enough. Where is this person getting that information? Have you guys heard that? I'm not seeing anything so far. I'm not saying that we're not going to hear about that being the case. I don't know, but I don't see anything yet. And I am new to this case. I just started looking into it. I looked into it a little bit yesterday and then today, this morning. But I haven't found anything yet where it showed that he was. So now she may use that as her defense, but it doesn't mean that's true. I mean, it's going to be one of those. Well, I don't know what she's going to use it as defense, so I can't say anything. But if she does, it might be one of those he or she said. Well, I guess he can't stick up for himself. But this person says she obviously had mental illness struggles she dealt with. No, wait, back up, because that was in January 2024 when the cops were called. At least from hearing Law and Crime, it sounded like she was the one at fault. Did it not to you guys, the way he was describing that when the cops were called January 2024? It sounded like it was her and she was taken to get help. Doesn't sound like it was something where like he was abusing her. So I don't know. I don't know where this person is getting any information like that. But it says she obviously had mental illness struggles she dealt with, and I know I'll be bashed for this, but I have some compassion for her. You never know what people are going through. Definitely don't know what exactly happened, and she will most certainly face consequences. I can't help but feel terrible for her. She's been struggling for quite some time. I don't know. Like I said, I have no comment on that because I have no idea if that's even real. Yeah, this person said there's zero proof of abuse per close friends and family. The father supposedly had custody of the children. One day, Jenna picked them up in the middle of the day at preschool. The school did not know that. She was not supposed to have them. She took them across state line and tried to put them up for adoption. Where are people getting this information? This is all hearsay, take with a grain of salt. It's coming from Facebook. Sometimes there's some good stuff in it. Sometimes stuff is just made up. I don't know. I mean, this is the first I'm hearing about this, but this person's saying supposedly at one time she took him in the middle of the day and then tried to put him up for adoption. I guess we'll see if I looked through her records, and the only record like law and crime even found was the just it was a traffic ticket or was I'll pull it up and show you, but it was just like a little traffic thing. So I feel like if that happened, would there not be a charge though? I don't know. It says police found out and saved them. Father was awarded full custody. I guess maybe they just if that's why, but see, we're not going to be able to probably get that information of the whole custody thing. And then she says Jenna supposedly wrote somewhere that if I can't have my kids, either should his family. Huh, that could be the motive. I was thinking, my first thought on this whole thing was they witnessed it and she was scared. She didn't want no witnesses, and that's why she went in and killed him. But maybe not. Maybe she just had this thing because they had custody of the kids and he was living with his parents. So they were all basically, she took it out on all of them. It could be something like that. Wow. I can't wait to find more information on what she said and um I'm just seeing if there's anything else interesting. She posted somebody says she posted a while ago about not letting people watch their kids, etc. I don't know her, but from reading her past posts, I believe she felt she was protecting her kids from whatever the dad and grandparents were allowing to happen or participating in. Everyone is jumping to the conclusion she was in the wrong. Maybe she was in the right and ended whatever was happening. We don't know, praying for the whole situation. Huh. What is this going to bring up? Hold on. Hopefully it doesn't. Oh. Okay. So April 13th, she posted this picture of her. Somebody says beautiful. So pretty. Okay. This one is not available. It's private. I'm sure content's not available. This one says, I'm not mad at you. That's who you are. That's your character. Be that character, but I ain't got to deal with it. Masculinity isn't toxic. The absence of it is. Weak men are abusive and spiteful. Strong masculine men are protective and loving. Huh. That could be a little sign. I don't know. Who knows? You could take that either way though. You know, sometimes people post it because that's what they're going through. Either way, she could post it because she could felt at that time she had a good man, and maybe Jake was a good man and he was masculine and protective, and you know, he wasn't abusive, but you know what I'm saying? It could be because the person has that or has either has the weak man or the strong man. You know what I'm saying? People post quotes on either side. So who knows why she posted that. This one says, lately I've been practicing enjoying exactly where I am at, even if the moment isn't exactly what I wanted it to be. I know I could find beauty here. The this right here, protect your babies because they're your responsibility. Interesting. If you tell anyone. Stop leaving your kids with them. Stop leaving your children with your boyfriends you barely know. Huh. Stop letting your family members you don't entirely trust watch them because it's free. If you have a gut feeling about someone that doesn't sit right with you when it comes to your child, cut all ties with this person. If your little ones comes to you and says, I don't want to stay with a particular person, do me a favor and listen to them. Hmm. Maybe there was something that, you know, she knew and her kids were telling her that she was trying to get rid of um them because she felt they were hurting her. But it could be true, or it could be she's got some mental issues and she's paranoid and is imagining them. You know what I'm saying? It could be either or. She's kind of imagining that's what's going on. Because I mean, we've seen some people are paranoid and they imagine these made up things in their head, and she might really have thought that and acted on it, or it could be accurate, or it could be somewhere in the middle. I'm so curious to what she said when she got arrested. This will be interesting because um a mom's gut feeling should be trusted always. And this was 2 years ago, they said that. Oh, so that's interesting. So, what people were posting 2 years ago when she posted this, Carol Lee does 100% with clapping. Jenna, she's the mom here. The one charge says a mom's gut feeling should be trusted 100%, and Kara says always. Betty says agreed. Christina says, but you took your kid's father, took their grandparents' life. So now we're getting to the more recent ones. Pepper says, and now they have a dead father and mom in jail. Great job. Holly says, protect your babies, huh? Well, those going to protect then. Who's going to protect them when their mom is in prison for life and you unalive their father and grandparents? There's a special place for a person like you. You disgusting. You those poor sweet babies, your lives of yours lives just got horribly changed forever. This didn't age well, somebody says. How the turntables. Maybe grandpa was hurting the girls. We do not know the background. Who will protect your babies now? But you left them with whoever is next of kin to stop their lives. Okay. Let's see. She posted this. Looks like a mom with her daughter. Catch me serving on a patio. Shoot. My stupid thing's starting to not work. Hold on. Okay. Stupid mouse is starting to not work. This is ridiculous. It was working fine this whole time for days. I'm on my thing, and then I go live and it's not working. Because I know people are like, well, why don't you make sure your stuff's working? It was. It just. Why does this do this to me? It's almost like a mean joke that always something has to not work when I'm go live, and it makes me look like unprepared. Oh my gosh. This is why what mom says goes is so important. Mothers know their babies, how they want them cared for, and by who. Mom should always be asked first before babies, toddlers, adolescents are left in the care of anyone for any reasons. Praying for this poor mama as she has to figure out how to go on with her child or go on without her child. May the truth come out quickly for her sanity. Must be a case where I think he or somebody was, I don't know this case, but somebody they left their kid with, yeah, her daughter, this other person, her daughter was struggling to breathe. She was supposed to be with her dad, but was left with her paternal grandmother. Huh, it does sound like it might be like the grandparents, the grandpa that she's maybe blaming. Because for her, I mean, if we're taking these clues for her to say, you know, mom should always be asked first before babies are left with somebody else. I keep freezing. Am I freezing? So it sounds like, I mean, from these little hints, it's sounds like it could be something to do with their grandparents. Um, and him leaving him with them and something happening and her blaming, him. He shouldn't be leaving him with anybody. He needs to ask. Needs to ask her. Oh my God, this mouse. Hold on. Let me see. Did I change the battery? No, I never did get a battery for this one. Oh my God. I might have to go get a freaking battery for my other mouse because this keeps. Here's a picture of all of them. This is her. Guys, I might have to go down and get a battery for my other mouse. That's him. That's who she shot. I'm thinking it's my. Why do I feel like since I keep freezing here, am I freezing to you guys or not? I need to know. Oh, I didn't even know there was. Okay. Oh, you guys probably can't hear that because she just says it's okay. She doesn't need any more candy. That's all she's saying on that. I think it's. I could reshare it, but that's them too. Somebody says, wow, so abusive, since I'm sure that will be her claim. Dude, I have like no control over anything right now. Everything's just freezing. Oh my God. It's good here? Yeah, but mine isn't good. That's weird. I think because I have so many tabs open. Hold on. Maybe that's it, but my computer should be able to handle all these. Hold on, let me exit out of a few things that I might not need because let me just bring up her LinkedIn. I could exit out of this. I just wanted to show you her LinkedIn. I'll bring up a few things that'll take a minute so then I could exit out and see if that's the issue. Here's her LinkedIn. It says accounts payable clerk at Skyline Construction, Greater Chicago area. So I'm not sure she still works there. Where's she? Yeah, it's not even let me scroll down. Okay, Bill Gates is her interest. What? Ew. Yeah, it's not letting me do crap. Hold on, let me just exit. Okay, we've seen that. So let me exit out of that and see. I could exit out of this. I don't know why. I mean, this is her Pinterest. I was just going through all her social media stuff. Okay, that ended up just, dude, it's doing things and I'm not even doing anything, guys. All right, hold on. Let me get a battery. This is ridiculous. I can't even get over here to get the, hold on, to make sure I'm still here. Come on, guys. I try to do a new case, get some new people in, and I'm not going to end up getting anybody because I can't. I can't get my mouse up there to get my page up. Okay, come on, come on. Come on, pull up. Okay, I'll be back. I'm going to see if it's a mouse issue. I'm afraid that it's not, though. Oh my God, it's going to cancel me out. No. Hold on, my thing froze. I'm just afraid that's not the issue. Hold on, I'll be back. I don't know if that's the issue though. Shoot. Oh my lord. Hey, Mom, where are the You know the back way to get in, Bob. No, I didn't say. Never mind. That's not what I said, Bob. Okay, I got my old mouse with a new battery. Let's see if this works. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn this one off. Screw this. All right. Hopefully it'll be good now with the nice. I love this mouse. I need to find another one. Okay. It just needed a new battery, so I was using my new one that I don't really like, but okay. So let's see here. So much better, so much better. Oh. I wanted to go over because I thought I saw. Well, I just wanted to find this one picture. Is that his No, okay. That kind of looks like his stepdad, or the stepdad. It's interesting though because it looks like the mother is Jacob's mother, but the guy was his stepdad. So, and it looks like from. I'll show you. Hold on, let me show you something. This is the account. So it looks like from. This is his step parent, or supposedly. Here, I'm going to bring Zeke up because I have a feeling he's going to be coming up in a minute. Supposedly it's his mom and his stepdad, right? And if you look, it looks like they got married not that long ago. I mean, they're older. This is 2022. They posted this picture. So you see, this is Jacob, and this is his mom, and this is, I guess, his stepdad. So these three is who she killed, or allegedly killed, who she's charged with. Now, like I said, taking some hints from her Facebook, it sounds like something happened. She's thinking something happened in that home. And I'm almost like thinking maybe with him. At least that's what she thinks. It might not be true. It could be paranoia stuff. I could be wrong. I'm just taking hints. I mean, we're trying to figure this out, like I said. Just trying to figure out what she's trying to say. Okay. This says, oh, so she says, Ella, you're so loved, little one. Thank you to all who came out and celebrated my baby. And the reason I was saying, wait, Ella, so she posted this in 2023. She turned 2. So what? She's 5. And the other one, the reason, if that's Ella, no, she looks older than 2 right here, right? I want to find the picture where I figured, Zeke's comment. I try to just look up the ages and they, like Google it and it doesn't show. So I was trying to take hints on like birthdays and to see how old they are. I can't promise what I said earlier. I was just trying to like go by pictures and when it was posted. Because if you go up, I'll go up in a minute, but I want to keep going down and see what else she says. Girly girl turns 2 tomorrow. We had so much fun celebrating her today. So that was in 2023. So June. So she's 5, right? Or 4. Yeah, I guess she's only 4. She'll be 5 in June. So I don't know how old he is. The son is younger, but I'm pretty sure he's older than a year for sure. Come here, Bubba. This says, this actually your life and you're letting people make you unhappy in your life. Damn. So she says, no more. This is in 2023. So that's trust your gut. You ain't feeling that way for no reason. Your intuition is always right. Somebody recently said, don't always act on your gut. Sign me up. There should be a summer camp for moms where we just get to sleep for 3 weeks. Every woman who heals herself heals her children's children. Somebody says, now what, Jenna? What do they do without you? All right. We'll look through more of this in a little bit, but let me go through some other stuff. So that's her Facebook, and then like I said, this is his parents, his mom, and I'm pretty sure his stepdad. I'm gonna go with that because I think that's what it is. Um, so these are let's see when they posted recently, 2022. I guess he didn't post recently, but this is Patrick. Hold on, Stacy, the mom. Let me look at the moms. Here's his mom's Facebook. She posted February 10th, December 16th. There's the two kids. Yeah, so that's the two kids. So he's definitely old. He's probably like 2 or 3 or how old? I'm not good at telling ages, but this would have been June. So I mean, they're definitely older than one. So I don't know, postpartum. I really don't think if it's past a year or two that it would be considered postpartum. Just be considered depression or whatever, right? Only reason I keep bringing that up is because somebody in chat asked if she was suffering from that, so I was trying to get an age. So he must have a brother Lucas, Patrick, because it says, if you're looking for interior of your car, my son Lucas is doing this on the side. He will come to you, mobile detailing. Okay, so here's the stepdad with the daughter. Now it's making me like side eye. Like, wonder what was going on. I don't know. I don't want to I don't want to blame, and I just want the truth. So, um, now this one's doing that now. So they must have got married. Let me look at that date again. They must have got married in like 2022, it looks like. All right, let me exit out of some of this stuff because now it's doing that again. Okay. I don't need this up anymore either. Hold on. I don't know why it's doing it. Okay. Let me exit out of this. I don't need that. She has a TikTok. Nothing's posted. Her account's private. I'm just gonna exit out of that. Well, here I'll show you the picture because it's kind of a new picture. Not new, but a picture that I don't think it's on any of the other. Okay, let me exit out of that. I'll exit out of this. I could always bring them back up if we need them, but I think that's what's making it go so slow. Let's go to his Facebook. This is Jacob's now, her on again, off again boyfriend. Oh, that's where I saw that. I shouldn't doubt myself. I was starting to doubt myself where I saw that he was 3 because I looked at this and it says March he turned 3. That's why I I knew it. I was doubting myself like maybe I saw something wrong when I put in chat he was 3. But no, it's cuz I looked at this. So yeah. So he was 3. He's 3. So that's them two. That's them. Wow, the daughter looks just like her. Does she not? I think she looks if you see older pictures of her when she's younger, I almost was like, is this her when I was looking at other pictures? Let me show you what I'm talking about because I was trying to figure out hold on. Aw. I was trying to figure out if this was her. Hold on, let me show you something. Where is it at? Like this. I'm pretty sure that's her, but she just looks so different. And I was putting like side by sides because of how different she looked. But I think it's her because I don't know why. I mean, maybe to you it's like, well, no, it looks like her. I don't know why she looks so different in that. And hold on, let me bring up. And there's an old picture of them. Look. And I'm pretty sure that's her too. I could be wrong, but that's the same girl that's in that. Right, that's wait, hold on. I'll show you what I'm talking about. That's her, right? Am I wrong? And then that's her. She just looks. Well, I don't know. The nose. No, that nose looks the same. I don't know if that's her. I think it is. But look how different she even looks from here to here. Is that makeup? Not here. Here to here to here. Just like makeup and like here she even looks different. But yeah, I mean, things are all her, to be honest. Her daughter looks just like her, I think. I'm just trying to see if there's any. Look at him with long hair. That's him. He looks like a wrestler, kind of. Like with it, he's got the wrestler look, even like a WWF. But is that not the stepdad? Right? Or am I wrong? It looks like him. That's his mom. I'm just wondering because I'm trying to try to figure out how long they were together, the stepdad and the mom, because this is 2017. It looks like they got married in 2022. I think that's him. He just lost some weight. I mean, he's heavier in this, maybe a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, it's a sad story. I'll show you her charges here. I'll play another news clip too, but there's not much to go by. Like I said, I mean, the affidavit, arrest affidavit and stuff isn't even out yet. I don't know why it can't be my mouse is because I have a new battery in here. Something is going on. It's making it really hard though, guys. I can't, I don't understand. Watch, as soon as I end the live, it'll be fine. Here, hold on. Let's read some articles here. This one is pretty interesting. It talks about, oh my God. I really don't know what the heck's going on. Hi, Zeke. Now I don't have enough tabs for it to be affecting it. There's no way. I am very confused. All right, let me put this article up. Oh, let me show you her charges first, if I could click on it. I don't even know how to correct this, guys. I mean, I'm sure if I get a new mouse, it's not going to do anything. Let me show you this first. Here is her Indiana. If it lets me. So remember, she was originally arrested in Indiana because she went back to her house in Indiana, and she was extradited into to Illinois. So here's that oh, this is a different. Oh no, this is the same one. Here's that other charge. It's like a. Oh, it's expired probably because it's been so long since I had this up. I can't win here. I'm getting. Let me bring up this. I really have no choice here. I'll just read this. I'm sorry, guys. It'll work and then it stops. So now it's working and it's going to stop. I keep switching between. No, the new one's seeming to work. Okay. Indiana woman charged with murder of her children's father, his parents at Chicago area home. 30-year-old Indiana woman is facing multiple charges, connection with the triple homicide, facing 9 counts, allegedly killed a man with whom she had children with and his parents. The victim was identified as 32-year-old Jacob Lambert, with whom Strouble had an on and off again relationship. Around 2 a.m. Okay, I already read all that. I'm trying to find the new stuff I haven't read. Hold on. When deputies arrived, they found Lambert dead in a car in the driveway. His parents, Patrick, 55, and Stacy, 54, also found dead inside the home on the first floor near the front door. So that's his parents. I guess I don't know for sure if that's his stepdad, but that's what Law and Crime was thinking too. We know this is his mom, and they didn't get married till 2022. I guess it still could be his dad. I mean, sometimes, they maybe didn't get married right away, or maybe they divorced and got remarried. I don't know. Investigators learned Strobel fled the scene to her home in St. John, Indiana, where local police arrested her. Strobel gave incriminating statements to police, and officers found a gun which matched the one used. She's currently being held at Lake County, Indiana, which she has been transported, though. Okay. No, I guess this isn't the one. There was one that talks about people that went to school with Jake. Hold on. I thought that was the one. Give me 1 minute. It might be this one. Yeah, it might be this one. Oh, that's interesting. All right, hold on. Let's read this. This one has some interesting things, it looks like. I'm going to make it bigger so you guys could read along. All right. Thanks for sticking around. Oh, I'm already struggling to get people to watch my videos, and it has to. Ah, these mouses both were working. Well, that one needed better, but this new one was working good for since my last live. Perfect until I hit live. Till I hit go live, and then it's like it's a sick joke that my technology wants to break down. They're like, we're gonna wait till she goes live, so then it makes her look bad. It makes her look like she's not prepared and all this stuff. Are you kidding me? I've been at my desk every day using this stuff. It's been fine. Okay. Girlfriend arrested on 9 counts. Okay, let's see. 30. I'm going to skip around the stuff we already read, but there is some new stuff in here. 30-year-old woman from Indiana has been found and arrested in 9 counts, identified as Jenna Strouble. Okay, let's skip down. They allegedly had a tumultuous relationship with the victim and had 2 kids. She was arrested for making incriminating statements after an apprehended firearm matched the murder weapon. The ex-girlfriend needs to be in prison with no parole, one user said about the tragedy on Facebook. Will County Sheriff Mike Kelly announced that local detectives obtained an arrest warrant for Strouble on March 24th after the 3 homicides were discovered a day earlier. On March 23rd at around 2 a.m., deputies were dispatched to conduct a welfare check at an East Norway Trail address after a call for assistance. When the authorities arrived, they found 3 adult bodies at the scene with no sign of life in any of them. The victims were later identified as Jacob, 32, Stacy, 54, Patrick, 55. Okay, we already know all that. According to ABC Chicago, Stacy and Patrick's grandchildren lived in the same house, but they were not present during the homicides. It is not confirmed whether the kids in question were Stroubles. I wonder, where are the kids? Wait a minute, are they at school? Or were they with her? Where the heck are the kids? Huh. So Jennifer says, how does someone know to call authorities for a welfare check at 2 a.m. unless they knew it was going to happen? Sad they have children. Well, I wonder what time. Do we know what time this happened? Because did they hear the gunshots? And is that why? It doesn't sound like it. Just sounds like they said they just a concerned neighbor. I don't know if it's because they heard gunshots. But when did the murder happen? Did I miss that? Did anybody see when it said it actually they thought that she went over there, what time it was? Because was it like right after that they called? Like, so is it because they heard the gunshots, or is it like hours later and that has nothing to do with that? It is kind of interesting at 2 a.m., unless if that's when it happened, they heard it. Investigators believe the homicides were premeditated after Strouble reportedly made incriminating statements during her interview. The police also recovered a firearm that matched the weapon used in the homicides, according to the forensic report. Strouble is currently being held at the Lake County, Indiana jail and will be extradited to Illinois. Autopsies were performed on Tuesday, and the final cause and manner of the victim's demise will be determined after police and toxicology reports, the coroner's office said. The victim's neighbors said the incident feels like a horror story. Wow. The Will County Sheriff's Office conducted its investigation at the crime scene all day Monday and spoke with neighbors. Some of them shared their experiences with ABC Chicago. Ooh, I'll find those. We could see what they said. All those lights, police knocking on the doors, very scary, and you don't know what's going on, said Shayla DeRosas. Numb. I feel like I'm in the middle of a horror story, said Jennifer Brown, who said the Fords were helping them install new flooring over the weekend. They were just over here yesterday, all three of them. We were hanging out. Her husband, Jim Brown, said they were in our house yesterday, all three of them. Now they are gone. I am not an emotional person, but something like that hits home. Miranda says, I'm curious to what triggered her. She snapped. Nikki says, now her life is over and her kids are without either parent. I just don't understand people's thinking sometimes. The victims had a pet dog who survived the incident. Friends and neighbors tried to help, but the animal would not let anyone near or leave the home. Eventually, Will County Animal Protection Services was called, and they did what was needed. The internet reacted to the homicides and Jenna Strouble's arrest. Netizens were shocked over the incident and expressed concern on social media. Women need to learn how to walk away, one person said. They did not deserve this, another wrote. How sad this happened. No need for it at all. How does someone know to call authorities for a welfare check at 2 a.m. unless they knew it was going to happen? One person wondered. Pray for the kids, said one more. Another wrote, I'm curious as to what triggered her. One chimed in, and again I ask, are you still thinking about getting married? But it's not just, they're saying women need to learn how to walk away. How many times is the man that's cheating or whatever and they don't walk away? They need to learn to walk away or get a divorce. So you can't just say women. You know what I'm saying? People just need to learn how to walk away or get a divorce if they're married, you know? I guess, I mean, sometimes it's complicated because it's, the children, and they don't want, if they believe something's happening to the children, or they don't want the person to have, custody of the children or whatever. I mean, so I think that's the case. This one, I don't feel like it's because I feel like it has to do with the children, and maybe it could be paranoid thoughts. There might not be, they might be unfounded thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Unfounded things that she thinks was happening, or it could be legit. But I do think it's going to have to do with, this is definitely going to have to do with her kids and what, that she felt like she was protecting them or something. Many users wonder why Strouble was facing 9 counts of first-degree murder when there was only 3 victims. Multiple counts of the same charge are often used when multiple victims are involved. The act is repeated to allow prosecutors to pursue different legal theories or to prevent acquittal gaps to avoid case dismissals. According to legislation, states that a person who commits a homicide will be charged with first-degree murder if the accused had the intention and knowledge that their action would cause the demise of the intended victim. If it is punished by a minimum of 20 years imprisonment and maximum life without parole. Mike says that math ain't mathin'. Noah says 3 different counts of charges for each victim. Not that hard to understand, people. Don says women be snapping these days. Amy says 3 adults but 9 counts of murder. Math teachers around the world want you to show your work. Hot Take says, are people dumb or do I watch too many crime dramas? Sometimes people get multiple charges for a crime if multiple things are true about the crime. Jason says, where are all my domestic violence advocates at with their bullhorns? Edward says, love make you do some stupid ish. Linda says, this ex-girlfriend needs to be in prison with no parole. Dilly says, oh, so men can be victims of domestic violence? Becky says, how sad this is to happen. No need in it all. This isn't the article I was thinking of, to be honest. Where is the one? The one that was, it goes on to talk about like his, there's a couple people that went to school with him or something. I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went. I'm going to try to refresh that other thing too. It might be this one. No, I don't think it's this one, but let's see what this one, let's see if this one has anything new. 3 dead, a mother charged, children left behind to live with outcome. Oh, shoot. Oh, it is muted. Hold on. If this is a video about this, I'll reshare it and we can watch it. I don't know what it's going to be. Sometimes these videos in the article has nothing to do with what we think it does. So let me just see real quick before I'm going to have to reshare because I took out my headphones because I scream with them in. If I'm not going to need them, I don't want to. No. Oh my God. That's not. Okay. I just saw Indiana and I thought it was. Yeah, at some point in their lives, the young children of Jenna will learn what happened to their father and paternal grandparents. They'll also learn who killed them. They'll be absorbed in devastating loss of their parents. Their father was killed, their mother was jailed, their lives will be forever fractured. Okay. Why is always the first question people ask in a deadly domestic violence case. Why did the killer do it? The answers will eventually be revealed, possibly in a courtroom or beforehand, though it will never make sense to most of us. Domestic violence deaths have become so normalized in our country that it's one of the most popular entertainment options. Someday there may be a Dateline or Snapped or 48 Hours TV show featuring what happened this past weekend in Crate Township and what led to this triple murder. For now, as media outlets move on to the next big thing to cover, my thoughts are with the children who will have to share the news of what happened with their kids. How do you broach such a tragic subject? At what age will the couple's children learn all the details of their parents' fates? Tragic events like this can be avoided. I've written about dozens of these situations in our region over the past 25 years, each one different. Yeah, nothing new in that, really, to be honest. I mean, they're just, I guess I probably accidentally exited out of the one that I really wanted. Of course, that would have happened. It had like extra things on it, and no more. It's gone. I'm gonna play another video though here. I'm just looking through to see if any of these. No, see? The welfare check, I thought so. Officials said they were asked to perform a welfare check from a concerned family member. So it wasn't like a neighbor that heard gunshots. It was a concerned family member. But at 2 a.m., that is kind of odd. Think about that. Like you're going to call at 2 a.m. You're not a neighbor and it wasn't like you heard something going on. But all of a sudden at 2 a.m. you decide, oh shoot, something's going on. Let me call. Is that not odd? That is really odd. Do you think they would have just waited till the next morning? Unless they were aware of something or somebody tipped them off to something because why the heck would they call in the middle of the night? You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, they would be sleeping most likely and I don't know. That is odd. And that's odd that the neighbors didn't hear any shots. Did anybody catch the time that this supposedly happened? Because is it in the middle of the daytime? Well, thanks, Anthony. Let me check in with chat. Sorry, I haven't. Um. Okay, so it helped you. Thank you. Is that in reference to me? Yeah, sorry. I wanted to at least, because a lot of times I'll wait till it's like already out a week or two and then people aren't aware of the basics of what happened. So then like when I'm going over the more specifics that come out, then I have to go back and try to, give the basics. So I wanted to catch one when it first happened to go over, the basics so my viewers can see what happened. And then when stuff does come out, I could just go over the specific stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Um Levitating elephant. I love the name. Hey Crystal. Thank you. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let me play something else, or let me find something else here. Here's the local. Hold on. I can't believe the one that I really was anxious to read. It's gone now. Let me make sure though. I'm going through everything I have pulled up. 1 second. All right, let's read this. This has some little bit different stuff at least. Um, so here's her first mugshot. Like I said, then she has that other one. It says, charged, she waives extradition to Illinois, charged with killing 3 people, will be sent to Illinois. She waived extradition during a hearing Thursday in front of Lake County Commissioner, held through Zoom. That's what I'm trying to find, is that Zoom. Look, right here. There's a picture, a screenshot of it. Has anybody, I want to find it though so we can watch it. It's got to be somewhere. Because, I mean, this person got a screenshot of it. Strobel said that she was booked. Wait, Strobel said she was booked Monday into the Lake County Jail and has no criminal matters pending in Indiana, making her eligible for extradition. She was arrested by St. John police at her home after Will County authorities issued a warrant for her arrest. She was charged Tuesday with 9 counts of murder. A person charged with a crime in a state different from where they were arrested can waive extradition. meaning they consent to being transported there to face their criminal charges. If they do not waive it, they can ask the governor of that state to issue a warrant, which sets the matter out for 90 days. The prosecutor is then required to prove to the court that the individual is the person that the other state has requested. Defendants typically waive extradition unless they seek to prove that they are in fact not the person listed on the warrant. Commissioner Karen Price said there's no time frame on when the person needs to be picked up by authorities from the other state. The law requires that they be transported within a reasonable period of time. If the person is still in jail 14 days from the extradition hearing, they can write a letter to Price. She said they will then reach out to the state to inform them the person is still incarcerated in Indiana. However, this is not an issue in Illinois because of its close proximity. We transport once a week to Illinois, she said. According to Will County Sheriff's Office, Lambert was found deceased in a car parked in the driveway of the residence, and his parents were found dead inside the home. Strouble was an on and off again in relationship with Lambert, and the two have children together. According to police, she reportedly made incriminating statements to the police following the incident. St. John police took her into custody, officials said. Transferred Friday to Illinois to face charges in triple slaying. So she was transferred today. There's her new mugshot. Let's see if there's anything new in this. I wish I had a time of when that happened. I'm trying to get a time of when they think the murders happen. All right, I'm gonna try to update that. Hold on. I'm gonna play this real quick and then I'll try to update that case thing to see if it pulls up anything. Here comes Zeke. Hey, Bubba. Hi, Zeke. Come in, bub. Come in. All right, let me share my screen. Play a little video action here. I'll play a CBS Chicago. Come here, Bob. Come say hi to everybody. Come say hi to everybody. He's sitting right in front of my desk looking at me. Come on over here, Bob. Okay. Let's watch this video.
It is, Marie. These charges coming down just in the last 30 minutes or so. The Will County Sheriff's Office confirms it has obtained an arrest warrant for 30-year-old Jenna Strouble of St. John, Indiana, and she faces 9 counts of first-degree murder. And the Sheriff's Office says that this was a targeted incident. We have some video that we collected from yesterday showing the scene out here. This was on East Norway Trail in Crete. Deputies arrived here about 2 a.m. on Monday for a welfare check. And inside a home here, they found the bodies of Stacy Ford, her husband Patrick Ford, and their 32-year-old son, Jacob Lambert. Deputies say that Strouble fled the scene and was taken into custody. And during interviews with investigators, the Sheriff's Office says that she gave incriminating statements. They say they also recovered a handgun that was matched to one that was believed to be used in the killings. Lambert was found dead in his car in the driveway, the Sheriff's Office says. His parents were found inside the home. The Sheriff's Office says that Strouble had an on-off relationship with Lambert and they had kids together. The Sheriff's Office also tells me that deputies were called to this house here in January of 2025 for domestic battery and a mental health intervention. They say that Strouble was also involuntarily committed during that incident in January of 2025. She's being held right now in Indiana, and she's expected to be brought back to Illinois to face those charges. That's the latest information we have at this point, and of course we'll pass along more as we learn it out here in Crete. For now, reporting live in Crete, Noel Brennan, CBS News.
no, I can't find anywhere where it actually says when. So it was sometime Monday they were shot. But I was just trying to figure out because I want to know, was it like, why does it keep, was it like in the morning, in the daytime, and then, you know, the welfare check wasn't called till 2 a.m. So the welfare was called 2 a.m. Obviously the day before is when it happened, it sounds like. Um, but I mean, they haven't said anything. I guess we're just all assuming. I just want to know if it was right out in the freaking daylight or night. This is bit random, but did you cover or know anything that happened to that mother who left her 3 children in a house for years? They slept on pizza. No, I never. I don't know if I don't think I've heard of that one. Oh man, what is wrong with people? Dang it. Oh, that's cute. Levitating elephant. Miyagi. Arwen. Where's Arwen? Oh, there you are, Arwen. Okay. So let me bring this up. I just refreshed right here when I was bringing up the case for Jenna's charges that she had. She has that he's laying right here. I wish he'd come over here. Zeke, come over there and lay in the bed, babe. Go over there. You could come sit right here. Oh, let me make this bigger. Looks really small on the here. Let me do it like oh. So she has this in 2018. It's a local ordinance violation, disregarding auto signal. It's just a little citation. Disregarding auto signal, admission, ticket substitute, BMV for charge. So no biggie. I mean, court costs 135. And then let's do that again. And bring up her current ones. So then here's the murder ones that she has. But remember, it's that she's actually going to be charged in Illinois where it happened, but this is where they picked her up. Get up, my baby. Hi, Bobs. You made it. You made it, cutie. Good. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you made it over this way. He's just looking at me. You could lay in your bed or you could come up here. Either way, whatever you want to do, Bubs. Okay, so waiving extradition. Oh, hold on. Let's see what that. Oh, that's just going to show the waiving extradition. That's not going to be anything. Case closed because she's she's going to be charged over there. And then let me bring up. Hold on. I'm hot with this on. Okay, let's see here. Let me bring. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up first. I had a screenshot of it at my file. Why do I always forget? Because I marked out her address. Oh, my lord. So this is what's on the site, but I just wanted to exit our address out just for safety. But this is from Will County where she is going to be charged. She's got, hi, babe, murder, intent to kill, injure, you can see, and then murder. So she has 2, 4, 6 of intent to kill, injure. And then these 3 is murder, strong probability to kill or injury. So she has 1 for each of those, the strong probability, and then 2 counts of the intent to kill for each person. There's her new photo. Her next court date's the 30th, so hopefully we'll be able to watch it. 30th, at 9 a.m. So when she went in, she's 30 years old, 5'8", 180 pounds. And then I brought up to the warrant. There was a warrant for her house. You could see, or maybe it's for her. I guess you could look at it either, because it brings up her house address, but so you have that. And then, yeah, when I do a background search, it just brings up that traffic thing. But I looked up, because I always like to just look up everybody's. So I looked up Jacob. There was no records that came up on his. And I looked up the mom and stepdad, and the mom didn't have anything. The mom might have had a traffic thing or something little. But the stepdad had some charges. They were mostly traffic, and then he had some marijuana charges, the stepdad. And I wasn't even going to talk about it or even bring that up. But the reason I do is because now, I mean, there could be a possibility that, I mean, maybe there's way more to the story than just some crazy, mentally, unhinged woman going in and on a murder spree. I mean, maybe there was something deeper going on here. I don't know. But here, wonder why that didn't go in my history though. Hold on, let me type it in again. Should have went into my history, but it didn't. Oh man, I'm getting ache in my wrist. Let me bring it up again. Give me 1 minute. Oh, that's why. I looked it up. I forgot I looked it up on the county website. Okay. But let's see. I want to do it on the other one. Hold on. Let me see if there's anything else. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Jesus. Here we go. It's got to be that one. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up, and then let me bring. Oh, give me 1 minute, guys. Give me 1 minute, boys. Here, while I'm looking this up, I could put on a part of a video. Let me just do that so I'm not just sitting here. I'll find everything. I'm probably not going to play all of this, but I'll play some of that scandal. All right.
It's never good when a 911 call comes in at 2 a.m. Most of the time, the call is for something really terrible. And I'm sorry to report, that's the case we've got today. For when Will County Sheriff's deputies arrived to a home in Crete Township, Illinois on Monday morning, they found a grisly scene. In the driveway, a parked car. That part was normal, but inside the car, they found the body of a man. He'd been shot and killed. But that wasn't the worst of it. Searching inside the home, investigators found 2 more bodies, almost an entire family annihilated in one fell swoop. And right away, investigators believed it was targeted. If you're interested in cases like this one, we're talking top true crime news, body cams, interrogations, and deep dives into some of the most scandalous of cases, then make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss anything. Now, on to the case of Jacob Lambert and his parents, Stacy and Patrick Ford. Today's scandal takes us to Crete Township, Illinois, a small, unincorporated area about 35 miles south of Chicago. And technically, it's Chicagoland, but it's closer to the Indiana border than it is to Chicago itself. And that's going to play a part in this story, so remember the location. Now, at about 2 a.m. on Monday morning, that was March 23rd, dispatch in that area got a 911 call. Investigators would later learn that neighbors had heard some gunshots fired around that time, and it was a concerned family member calling in a wellness check. The family member was worried about 3 people: 55-year-old Patrick Ford, his wife, 54-year-old Stacy Ford, and their son, 32-year-old Jacob Lambert. Now, pausing here really quickly just to say, it stood out to me that the family has different last names, and on top of that, there's this recent photo that kind of looks like a wedding of Patrick and Stacy with Jacob as an adult. Now, most of the reports I've seen say that Patrick and Stacy are Jacob's parents and don't mention step-parents. And that's not to say that step-parents aren't parents too. I know many people who consider step-parents as their parents, and that can be a really special bond and relationship. However, I do want to report the facts, and the facts as I have them say that Patrick and Stacy are Jacob's parents, so I'm going to go with that. Now, according to the Daily Mail, Patrick and Stacy bought the home back in 2020, so they've lived there for, 6 years at this point. They've even become friends with their neighbors, who report that they saw the family together outside over the weekend, just kind of hanging out. There are also some reports that grandchildren live at the home, and I can't specify which grandchildren or how many or whether they were at the home at the time of this wellness check, which, by the way, is very upsetting. Deputies with the Will County Sheriff's Office get to the home around 2 a.m., and almost right away, they find a car parked in the driveway. Inside the car, they find the body of 32-year-old Jacob. He's been shot and killed. And if that wasn't gruesome enough, when deputies make their way inside the home, they find the bodies of both Patrick and Stacy. They're on the first floor of the home right near the front door. A report from the Will County coroner reads in part, quote, "All 3 were pronounced deceased on Monday, March 23rd, 2026, the victims of an apparent homicide. The Will County Sheriff's Police are investigating the incident. An autopsy was performed on Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. Final cause and manner will be determined following autopsy, police, and toxicological reports." Now, as I reported, the family was close with their neighbors, and almost right away, a scene of them started forming outside of the home. Some of the neighbors reported hearing gunshots or waking up to seeing the police lights there on the scene. One neighbor told local TV station WLS that the family had a beloved dog that thankfully survived the attack. But this next part is devastating to any pet lovers. This dog refused to leave the Ford's home, almost as if the dog was protecting their families and wouldn't leave anyone behind. Other neighbors spoke to local TV station CBS Chicago. Jennifer Brown said she felt, quote, "numb. I feel like I'm in the middle of a horror story." Jennifer says that the family spent the weekend over at her house and they were helping her install a new floor. She said, "They were just over here yesterday, all 3 of them. We were hanging out." Her husband told CBS Chicago, "They were in our house yesterday, all 3 of them. Now they are gone." And I'm not an emotional person, but something like that hits home. So right away, it was immediately clear that this wasn't a murder-suicide type situation. This was a targeted attack, and investigators wanted to track down the person responsible. Almost right away, the investigation pointed in the direction of 30-year-old Jenna Strouble, Jacob's on-again, off-again girlfriend and the mother of his children. Now, authorities were able to track Jenna down and found her across the border in St. John, Indiana. This is about 8 miles away from the crime scene. Now, we don't know exactly what happened, but the Will County Sheriff's Office reports that Jenna made, quote, "incriminating statements after the murders." On top of that, investigators say they collected a weapon and matched that up with the gun that was used at the triple homicide. Now, we don't know exactly what led up to the murders, and we're hoping more details will come out over the coming days, and we'll talk about this all during our interview. For now, Jenna is being held in the Lake County, Indiana jailhouse. From there, authorities just have to coordinate her extradition back to Will County, Illinois. And it's there, in Illinois, that Jenna faces 9 counts of murder. They break down as follows: 6 counts of murder with intent to kill or injure, and 3 more counts of murder with strong probability to kill or injure. As I said, an autopsy is pending, and we'll update you more as that information is released. But I also want to note, there are some reports out there that Jenna has a history with mental health concerns. And I've seen this reported on social media and even by outlets like the New York Post. And this is kind of tricky to report definitively because of HIPAA laws. I obviously don't have access to Jenna's medical records or her mental health history, so I can't 100% confirm with the documents in front of me. However, there are reports that Jenna has had mental health concerns in the past and even allegedly had at least one stay at a mental health facility. We're going to talk more about that during the interview, but if it's true, it's going to be really important for her defense. Now, the Post also reports that there were prior domestic situations between Jenna and Jacob, and that 911 had previously been called. This will also be important for her defense, and we're going to talk more about that during today's interview too. But before we get to that, I want to say some positive things about Stacy, Patrick, and Jacob. Stacy worked as director of finance for Rodea, which is a company that prints signs. Their team wrote a really moving statement about her and her family. It reads in part, "She was more than a coworker to many of us. She was like family to the Rodeas and many of our colleagues. She showed up to many family events, celebrations, and parties. She enjoyed life and loved a great concert. She was a wonderful woman who deeply valued her marriage, her children, her grandchildren, and her relationship with Christ. That foundation showed up in how she lived and how she showed love to others." Now, one of the hardest parts about a case like this is how and where these victims died. I mean, to be shot and killed in what should be the safety of your own home or driveway, it's just so tragic. I'm trying to make sense of all of it, and I'm hoping today's guest can help us out with some of that. It's criminal defense attorney Will Corman. Will, as always, great to see you and have you on Scandal. And honestly, in the past, you and I have talked about domestic violence incidents, and stereotypically, we see a man perpetrator. But in this instance, we have an alleged killer who's a female. I mean, do you think domestic violence was involved in this case?
Well, I mean, obviously, the fact that the two of them were in a relationship and she murdered him and his family, that is an act of domestic violence. And domestic violence does cut both ways. Anyone who's involved in a relationship who resorts to violence, it is domestic violence. And I think it's a little simple to say that it's usually men who perpetrate violence on women. It does go both ways. There's domestic violence there's the potential for domestic violence in any relationship, same-sex couples, heterosexual couples. It really doesn't matter.
You're right. We can't just box someone in because of the gender or the statistics or anything. This kind of situation, we saw what happened here. Again, these are all allegations against her, but it is a female perpetrator, the woman who's accused of doing this. So I'm wondering if prosecutors are going to want to take a closer look at their relationship prior to this, if there were any 911 calls, if friends or family report things, because I mean, sometimes there's an indication or red flags leading up to something like this.
Right, and my understanding is that in this particular case, there were some red flags. There were some prior issues where police had gotten involved. I believe that the young lady was committed at some point involuntarily, which is its own issue. So certainly there was something going on within this relationship. It was certainly a troubled relationship, to be sure.
I'm wondering, though, how we make the leap from killing, an intimate partner. And again, these are all allegations at this point, but this is a person, one of the victims was her on again, off again boyfriend, the father of her children. So we have that allegation, but then to kind of up the ante and also go after his parents or what would be the in-laws, that to me is taking it to the next level because she's not just accused of one murder, she's accused of triple homicide. So I guess, how do you make sense of that part?
Well, I mean, look, most murders are difficult to make sense of, and we don't exactly know what the facts and circumstances were. It appears that he was killed outside the home, and then his parents were killed in the home. So it's unclear as to exactly how it happened. But yeah, it certainly is different than just the unfortunate murder of her child's father.
I mean, when we're talking about the circumstances that we have here, any murder we talk about is unfounded and senseless. And we go through and we try to talk about, why would this happen? What led up to it? But then when you have, as you pointed out, the in-laws, so to speak, it raises it to a new level, especially since I've seen reports from neighbors who say, they were hanging out this weekend. We were all together. Everything was great. So to have a tragedy like this is very shocking. And I guess another one of the aspects that was kind of interesting to me too, I'm from the Midwest, so I know this location, but it happened in Illinois where the murders happened. Now, she fled, so to speak, across state lines into Indiana, very close by proximity. I mean, you can go from Indiana to Illinois really quickly. However, it is across state lines. And when we're talking murder, that's bad. So what do you make of the state line crossage here? Does that make it federal? Does it make it that she was fleeing, leaving the state of Illinois? What are your thoughts on that part?
It could be considered federal. My understanding is that the authorities in Illinois are the ones who are prosecuting this. Again, many crimes have both a federal and a state component, and just because that does exist doesn't necessarily mean that the feds will pick it up. I think in this particular set of facts and circumstances, it would be unusual. I think the case is going to stay in Illinois. And as you mentioned a minute ago, borders are porous. Sometimes it's really easy to cross a state line without even meaning to or realizing that one is. So I don't think that's an added component in this case. I think what's important is she fled the scene, she went home, and that's where law enforcement arrested her.
And how do you think that investigators were able to track her down? I mean, do you think it was just the age-old adage of it's always the husband, it's always the wife, it's always the significant other, and that's how they got to her right away?
Well, it seems as if there was someone knew something was going on. My understanding is that either a neighbor or friend called in a wellness check to the home. So somebody was concerned that something was going on. Law enforcement didn't randomly come across this murder scene. Somebody directed them there. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Who was that person? Why did they call law enforcement? And what was it that led them to request the wellness check or the welfare check on this family?
And then when investigators do get across the border in Indiana, again, as we said, it's about a 15-minute drive. It's 8 miles total. They get to her home. They speak with her. Now, I haven't seen court documents that say, quote unquote, she said these words. However, investigators have confirmed she made incriminating statements. So what sort of things could that be without knowing exactly what she said?
Well, I mean, it could range anywhere from admitting that she was on the scene to a full-blown confession or somewhere in between the two. Incriminating statements is code word for she sort of put herself there. And again, just putting herself on the scene doesn't necessarily mean she admitted to it. But when I read incriminating statements, it's usually something pretty significant.
So we have those incriminating statements, which hopefully we'll have the court docs or body cam or whatever it may be later to have a better idea of what exactly she said. But on top of that, investigators have also noted they found a weapon. They recovered it. They didn't say where, whether it was in her home, her car, or whatever it may be, but somehow connected the weapon to her and then did their tests and connected the weapon to being the murder weapon. That to me, is that kind of, literally a smoking gun if they have that, if prosecutors have that against her?
Well, I suppose it depends on where they found the weapon and whose weapon it was. But yes, I mean, from a prosecutorial standpoint, they have a pretty strong case, at least as far as we know right now.
So we have the gun, we have the incriminating statements. I mean, it could be a lot against her. However, switching it and talking about the defense side of things, I mean, she can, if she did make a confession, let's say, she can recant, right?
Well, I think she could. It can be difficult. She could perhaps argue that the confession was coerced or something along those lines. But if I'm representing this young woman, what I'm essentially doing now is I'm doing a deep dive into her background. I'm doing a deep dive into the relationship between her and the decedent. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I have a mental health defense, whether or not I have a battered woman's defense, things along those lines. And those are all viable and available even if she made incriminating statements, even if they are able to trace a gun to her.
Okay, that's interesting. You mentioned this a little bit earlier in the interview, but I have seen some reports. There's a lot going on with this, and especially since it's a relatively small town, people go on Facebook and they talk. So some of the major outlets haven't reported this. However, I have seen some of the things that you referenced, so I'm just going to say these are out there. We can't 100% confirm them yet, but there are reports that she did have this mental health stay against her will. She didn't, submit herself to that. There are other reports that there had been previous 911 calls in the relationship. So if we're going that route, the mental health defense, I mean, Perhaps that helps with the boyfriend, the on again, off again boyfriend. But then with the two in laws, I mean, does it help with all of it if they do the route of mental health defense?
It would have to. It would have to encompass everything that happened. She was in such a state, for whatever reason, that she didn't have the ability to conform her conduct to the norms of society and the law. So whatever was going on with her, it didn't just extend to the boyfriend, it was in the moment extending to his parents as well.
Does all of it matter what happened before this leading up? And I don't mean just necessarily the background of their relationship over years or whatever it may be. I mean like the weeks leading up to it. We talked about the weapon. We don't know whose it is. If she went out and purchased a weapon or got a license or whatever it may be, if she was searching things, if she was writing in her journal, like the moments, the months, the weeks, the days leading up to that, is that really important?
Oh, of course, and that's what investigators are doing right now. Without a doubt, they've executed a search warrant on her home. They're poring over her computer, her phones, looking for, as you just suggested, anything that may be on the computer about search terms or whether or not she purchased a firearm recently. They are tracking her movements back for as long as they can to see what led to this event.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they have a lot to go through because all of us have our phones with us at all times. I mean, the searches that we make, the places that we travel from here to there. And that's another point too. Maybe she had her phone on her if she was traveling across state lines. I mean, there's a lot to go through. But the next thing to talk about is the number of charges against her. 9. Now, there are 3 victims here, but she has 9 counts of murder. Can you explain that to me?
Sure. It's my understanding that in the state of Illinois, there can be more than one count per victim. So, in other words, when she unfortunately, if she murdered her boyfriend and it's a first-degree murder, they could charge her with first-degree murder. They could charge her with felony intent. They could perhaps charge her with a premeditated murder. So there's mechanisms in place to charge people with more than one count per particular act.
Okay, I think that makes sense because we've seen in some other cases that we've talked about too, where it's, multiple charges of murder per person. And in this case, it seems like it might be 3 counts per person, 3, 6, 9. That's how we get to that 9 number that she has. So do you think it's another way for prosecutors almost to cover their bases? If we can't convict her on this charge, maybe we could convict her on this one?
Absolutely. One can go to trial with multiple theories of how a case played itself out. And it is sort of a belt and suspenders approach where the prosecutors are saying to a judge and perhaps ultimately to a jury, there are 3 different mechanisms with which you can convict this person. And we're going to talk about all 3, and maybe you can convict them on all 3, but we are giving you alternative theories here. Usually a person can't be sentenced on all 3. They have to be sentenced for one or another. For example, if you steal a car, you can be charged with possessing a stolen car and stealing a car. In some jurisdictions, although you can be convicted of both, you can't be sentenced on both. The government would need to pick one or the other.
And, as you're talking about sentencing, my mind is just kind of going because we talked about a potential mental health defense and we're still so early on in all of this. So we don't know what route her defense would take. But if that's what they did, I mean, she can still be convicted of the murders. Well, I guess explain this to me, because if she was found not guilty by reason of insanity or mental health defense or whatever, she still wouldn't just be like, okay, well, there you go. You're free. You're good to go. She would have some sort of sentence in like a mental health stay or something. How does that work?
Correct. That's usually how it works. Instead of being sent to prison, the person ends up staying in a mental hospital for a significant period of time. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even necessarily need to go to trial. Perhaps if the mental health defense is strong enough to show that she's not competent to stand trial, then inevitably she would be held in some sort of facility to see whether or not competency could be restored. If competency can't be restored, then she, in theory, could be in some sort of mental health facility for the rest of her life.
Oh, we have seen that in other cases too. I mean, Lori Vallow Daybell is an example where she was found, unfit or not competent to stand trial. Later evaluations found obviously she was, and that kind of went through. Then there are others that are kind of put on hold. And my question then becomes, there are children involved in all of this. There are 2 kids, which is really, it's difficult because they're losing their father. Now their mother is going to be at least in jail for the foreseeable future. So what happens with the kids?
And one set of grandparents too, don't forget.
Right.
Inevitably, some sort of Department of Children and Families will step in. They will try to presumably place the children with other family members if that's available. And if family members aren't available, unfortunately, they get put into the system, probably the foster care system.
Oh my God, it's so hard to think about. You pointed out the grandparents too, and some of the neighbors had said, you know, we've seen the kids running around here. There were some reports that the kids stayed there or lived there at the time. I mean, it's just heartbreaking to have to think about and potentially have to go into the foster care system. I really hope that's not the case. Another question I have about the kids too, though, is do you think that investigators would want to talk to them? Now, I don't know exactly their ages, but if they are old enough to get any sort of background about what their parents' relationship were. And I know that this is difficult because, you know, first of all, they lost their father. There's a situation going on with their mother. You know, there's a lot to unpack as far as talking to kids, but do you think they could give some sort of insight?
They could. Again, I'm not aware. I'm fairly certain the kids are young. If they were
They're pretty young.
teenagers or even preteens, that would be a different story. But if these kids are 3, 4, 5 years old, I'm sure they'll be talked to by somebody. But whether or not that's information that investigators can use to glean what happened and why, that's a different story entirely.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're so young, maybe give a little bit of backstory, a little bit of insight, but again, don't want to traumatize them more than they already are facing. Now, Will, one of the last questions I'm going to ask you here is we're still pretty early on in all of this. We've kind of speculated about what what the investigation looks like now or what could happen, et cetera, all that's ahead. But what are your thoughts about what is ahead in the investigation or even the route that you think that this will take if it would go to a jury trial, a plea? What are your just general hypotheses?
I mean, again, I think from a defense standpoint, as I mentioned earlier, her lawyers are now going to start going through her entire mental health history and investigating the entire course of this relationship to see what sort of defense they can come up with. I'm guessing it's going to be a mental health defense, whether or not it's a battered syndrome complex or some sort of dissociative disorder or something along those lines. Given what we now know, and we don't know much, but what we now assume is the strength of the prosecution's case, that's the direction this case goes, in my opinion. And the defense will do everything they can to sort of put up those mental health roadblocks, if you will, to maybe even stop this case from going to trial in the first place. If this woman really is mentally ill, then they do need to get her the help that she needs. And whether or not they can get that in prison or a hospital, that's a conversation for another time. But if I'm her lawyers, that's the direction I'm going. From a prosecutorial standpoint, I'm doing a deep dive in the other direction. I'm having my law enforcement folks go through her phone, go through her computer, track her movements in the days, weeks, months, maybe even longer leading up to what happened that day to try to show that no, she was in full control of what she was doing. On this day, she went to a gun store and purchased a gun. On this week, she went to a gun range and practiced using a gun. On this day, she mapped out the easiest route to and from the house from where she lived in Indiana to show that she really was in control of what she was doing and to rebut the defense of any sort of mental health issue that could pop up later on down the road.
Sorry, I'm not going to be on much longer because I want to go eat some dinner. But I was looking through the dad because she's saying it might be his parents. The other guy in long crime, kind of was leaning towards it was the stepfather. So I looked up Patrick's. I was trying to look up his background, and usually with the backgrounds, they have a timeline. Let me take this down. They'll have a timeline and they'll show. Oh, let me take this up. Hold on. They'll show like uh a timeline of like important people in their lives if they're born or they die or whatever. So in Patrick's timeline, Jacob is not on his timeline. Lucas is, which tells me Lucas must be, I'm guessing. My theory is Lucas is probably then the stepbrother. Lucas is probably Patrick's son and Jacob's stepbrother. You know what I'm saying? So I do think from what I'm finding on the background search, there Jacob is nowhere to be found on Patrick's background. And usually if you have a kid or whatever, they're possible relatives, or like I said, it'll be on the timeline too. Patrick is not, or Jacob is not there, which I'm concluding, in my opinion, I think that means that it's the stepdad, and Lucas is probably Patrick's son. Jacob is probably Stacy's son, and we know that Stacy is Jacob's biological mom. We're just debating if the dad is his bio dad or stepdad. And my conclusion from looking at background search of Patrick, I think Jacob is his stepson. I think that, yeah, I think it's his stepdad. Um, and Lucas, like I said, I think Lucas is Patrick's son, and Jacob is the mom's bio son, if that makes sense. Um, so now Patrick has the dad, the stepdad. I'm gonna call him the stepdad because I think it is. I really do. He has some charges, so I want to look more into him, but he's got like a disorderly conduct. He's got but I want to look in further, like what was it? You know? It looks like he was previously married. If I don't know for sure yet. I'm looking into it, but from going through his background, it looks like he owned a house with somebody else and it looks like it was his spouse. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but it does come across that he may have been previously married, or maybe not married, but with somebody for a while. And that they may have owned a house together before he met Stacy. I'm just trying to like take some hints from the timeline. That's all. Like I said, it's not perfect, so I can't say 100%. But his some of his record, criminal trespass. He had controlled substance. He was arrested with 5 to 15 grams of LSD, which could just be like he's maybe just, a hippie, old hippie that was, you know what I'm saying? LSD. I don't view that as like judging him on, like that means anything bad or anything, but that was in his past. I mean, that wasn't even that recent, that charge. When was that charge? He's got a disorderly conduct. He also has controlled substance, another controlled substance charges, a couple more controlled substance charges. So, criminal trespass was in 2003, 1990. Well, 1990 is when he was arrested for LSD. So he was young. I bet you. Wait, when was he born? I gotta look at his birthday, see how old he was. Oh my lordy. So 1990. So that doesn't make sense then. He's not 10 years old. So there's something not right with that, because that would make him 10 years old. Let me see. Maybe that date was just. Hold on. Let me go back to the charge because there's no way. Let me get back to you on that one. Yeah, let me look. I want to find out. I'm going to try to go on the county sites and see if I could get more details on these. Because that doesn't even make sense as far as that. I'm wondering though if it's bringing up. I wonder if that's his dad. As far as that charge, that one charge. Born 1970. So criminal trespass. I'm trying to find the that other charge. I wanted to look to see where's it called? Oh, let me get back to you. Because he's a junior. There's a senior, so I'm wondering if some of these charges are mixed up with his dad's charges too. So that's why I want to do a little bit more investigating. And the only reason I feel like it could be important is because I don't know. I just have a feeling like she's gonna make some claims. You know what I'm saying? I have a feeling like she's gonna make some claims about somebody in the family, whether it be her boyfriend or I don't know why I have a feeling she's gonna lean towards the parents or the stepdad. In her reasoning for doing what she did. I could be wrong. I mean, let's see what comes out. But if that's the case, I mean, I'm gonna want to know like a little bit of history. I want to see some as much history as we can from all of the family, just to see like who, what things line up with what who's saying. And I'm not saying like what she did is not justified at all. I'm not saying that. But I like to always kind of figure out why, like why was this done? Is not that it should have been. Don't Every time I say that, people take that wrong. Like I'm giving them an excuse, and I'm not, absolutely not giving her an excuse. What she did was horrible. If she thought anything was going on, she should have went to the police. So I'm not saying that. Um, what she did is worse than that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, to kind of understand like where her head was. Um, I don't know. And it could just be all delusions too for mental health. I mean, it could just be total delusions, and none of it. She could have all these things in her head that she really believed in her head was happening, and it could just be all delusions. But her kids, they're so young, and I don't know, if they're going to interview them. Because let's say she makes some claims on some stuff, and her defense wants to go with that for a defense. Are they going to let them interview? Like, her kids are pretty young, to see like if there's any truth in anything she's saying. I don't know. That's a little touchy, because you could form like false memories in people's, especially young kids that are so impressionable. Like they can form false memories in their minds about things. It happens. It's what was the video I was watching the other day where they were talking about memories, people's memories, and then seeing who's here. Sorry, I'm trying to hear who just came to the door. And like you could have like dreams, or like where you think of something where things were they're stored, and how like easy it is to make something like in the memory because of where things are stored in your brain and stuff. So something could become a memory that's not even your memory, but then if it's stored in that same place, then it's going to become like a real memory, and you won't be able to tell the difference if it gets to that point, if that makes sense. I know I'm not using the proper terminology of what I'm trying to explain, but it's so interesting. It's scary because people could put those thoughts in your head, and somehow it could turn into like a real memory. So that's touchy. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that as far as them interviewing them, because for defense, or they want to try to build this defense, the way that people ask the questions, and they try to get the answers they want, they could put do it in a way where it's like putting these false ideas in their head. I feel like she just needs to take responsibility and just, you know, with these poor kids, where are they going to go? I don't think they should interview them, because it's not a matter of them having to go back to them if it's true. You know what I'm saying? She freaking killed him. So I think they should just let him go. I mean, not interview him, because depending on how they word things and stuff, they could create like more damage. I don't know. I'll keep you guys updated. Like I said, for some reason, they're not there. Yeah, can't find any documents, and Will County denied me for the arrest affidavit, but it might end up going up on the website, because usually that stuff doesn't take long to go up. At least the arrest affidavit, to see, the basics of what the heck happened. They're gonna have to let that be public, I would think. I could get like sometimes body cams and interviews, you have to wait, but the actual report of the arrest, and why they arrested her, that definitely should be public soon. Um, yeah. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. I could smell it. My mom's cooking something. But I think I am gonna do a live later on the Wade. I'm going to continue the kiosk messages, and we got a good, interesting part. If you guys have been interested in that whole aspect of the Wade case with the Wade wives and stuff, you will be very interested in the next group of messages because, like I said, he talks about Breezy and her dying. And I know a lot of people have been so interested, like, did he know about it? Like, what's his thoughts on it? And I haven't even read all of them yet. I'm only up to I'm gonna read another 80 pages on my next live. So I haven't even read all of what I have yet. So I don't know what else, but the ones I read he talks about. Well, you'll see. He talks about it. I thought it was interesting. I'm like, oh wow. At first, like he says one message, I'm like, is he talking about Preezy? And then he says something else. It was like, yeah, he is talking about her. He's talking about her and what happened to somebody else. So interesting. All right, I'm gonna go. I know I'm lucky. All right, I'm gonna go. Bye guys. Oh hey, Anthony. Oh yeah, that's been happening for a while of that 100%, yes. Um, but I had watched a video recently where they were going over the specifics of how easy it is and like why that happens. But yes, that happens. It's sad. And then like that's how there's false confessions sometimes too. Because over and over for hours and days they're like, and then they'll start interjecting little parts of the story like well didn't this happen and this happen, and then hours of it in their head over and over, they start really believing these little scenarios, and it starts becoming where they are convinced that that happened. And once that happens and then the specifics are given to them and they're like told over and over and they did it, all of a sudden that is a part of their memories that they did it. And they really believe they did it. These false confessions. It's crazy. So that's been happening for so long. But the video I'm talking about, and I got to remember, why do I feel like it was the behavior panel that, no, I don't know. It might have been one of the, you know, how they each have their own channel. It might not be. I'll have to try to go back from my history, but they were talking about why that happens and like how easy and like even dreams are stored in that same thing. Sorry, I can't eat. I'm so preoccupied. I'm listening to my mom and I'm trying to think of what I was saying. Oh, happy birthday, Brandon. Happy birthday. 25th? Wow. 25. Oh, I hope you have a good birthday. Um, Now I'm thinking maybe it's a video we watched together. I don't know. Let me get back with you on that. Because I'm starting to remember more about it. And I'm like, wait, were we watching that together on a live? Either way, it is crazy. The false confession stuff is so sad. And then, like you said, Hope, these kids, like people, they want to like get like these, they want something to be true, like say therapists trying to get information if their parents have done something to them. You know what I'm saying? It's like they have it in their head that they think, like I'm talking about the therapist will have it in their head where they think something's going on. So the way that they'll do it, like they want that, not that they want that to be true necessarily, but I feel like sometimes they really think that that's true. And if the kid is like saying no, 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 they'll do anything to try to get them to admit it. And sometimes it's just not true. You know what I'm saying? The therapist or the investigator is just wrong. So it's not true. So you doing that, you're making this kid think that it's their real memory. And it's sad because then in their head, this is how damaging the rest of their life, that is a real memory for them that something happened bad. Let's say it's like they did something bad or one of their parents did something bad to them. Now the rest of their life, they have a real memory of that happening, of somebody doing something to them that never really happened. But in their head, it's real. It's as real as any memory that we have. You know what I'm saying? Or like I said, sometimes these investigations will be that they did something to somebody. So their memory is now that they, let's say, killed somebody and they really didn't, but for the rest of their life, in their head, they're that memory. And every time they'll think about it, I mean, it's becoming more strong, stronger and stronger. And it's like they think they did this. It's just horrible. Sorry, I'm just rambling. Sucks. I swear I'm 28 yet. 28. I'm starving, guys. I gotta go eat. But hopefully you guys come for. And Ashley, we just need to do one. What do you want to do one on my channel? I've been waiting for you to get back into town. Let's do I gotta download some more the Epstein files. I downloaded a few. There's so many to go through. I was just trying to find, ones that I hadn't seen, which I hadn't seen a lot. I'm sure people that have been following it consistently have seen way more than what I've seen. I don't know. Yeah, I'll try to get something. Because I was planning on maybe doing that on my other channel, the Epstein stuff, maybe. Yeah, if you guys want to subscribe to my other channel, what is that? The command, I forget what I did. The command. Do you remember, Ashley? Maybe it was second channel. Remember I did a command? I don't remember what I named it. Oh my lord, I doubt it's any of those. What was it? Oh, it is second. Well, now I don't know if it's second channel or other channel. Oh, it is second. Okay. Come join. It's gonna be more laid back over there. I just want to do like where we don't have to necessarily stay on topic. Just talk about, I mean, if we talk about Epstein files, or we could just talk about whatever. I got a headache. I've been getting a headache a lot this week. I feel like every day it comes. I feel like I might be dehydrated. It's coming up, guys. ROM. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Bye.